This is Monkey World, the largest ape and monkey rescue centre on the planet. With every animal comes a story. Some funny, some shocking. Dramas great and small. Today on Monkey Life, the bachelor boys are up to their usual hooligan tricks. And there's concern for chimp Jolene, who's struck down with a mystery illness.
Don't know. I'm kind of puzzled by the whole thing.
Monkey World usually operates a non-breeding policy because their priority is rescued apes and monkeys. But there are some controlled breeding programs because a few of the species are endangered. One of these species is the woolly monkeys. And there's one animal in particular who's growing up fast. Julio is the second woolly monkey in the world to survive being hand-reared. It was Alison who took on this mighty task. And now he's spending less time with humans and more with his own kind.
It's just been fantastic. I mean, he's at a little more than 5 months old now, and he spends his full day inside of the woolly monkey house now, which is nice. It gives me a little bit of a break, but most importantly, it means that Julio's beginning to become a woolly monkey again. So he's been joining Susie and Lena every day. So it's first thing when I come in the morning, he goes in here, spends his whole day here, but then he still comes home with us at night.
In the wild, woolly monkey mothers have constant physical contact with their babies. Alison had to do the same. She even made woolly monkey sounds and mannerisms to prepare Julio for the moment he was ready to rejoin his family.
Yes, I know. Oh, yes, you're such a good boy. I know.
Julio had a traumatic start in life. For his own safety, he had to be taken away from his mum.
Hey, get in there, get in, hey! Is the baby okay, Alison?
I believe so. We've got toes, fingers. I don't see any blood.
A few weeks ago, Alison started to introduce Julio to the other woolly monkeys at the park. First was 30-year-old Susie, the oldest woolly monkey in the world. The meeting was a great success and proof of how well Julio is developing and adapting to the world of woolly monkeys.
Seemingly, we've done a very good job. I mean, at home, I did always encourage him to sort of move around and climb on things, and exercised him very well. And I think it's showing that it worked because he's just bombing around in here as good as any of the adults, quite frankly. I'm quite stunned at how well he's actually doing, and mentally how well he's adapted as well. You know, there's no fussing, no screaming, no crying. There is, if he can see me, which is why I'm sort of hiding behind the wall here right now. I can only get quick glimpses of him. If he sees me, he wants to come to me, but otherwise, you know, he's very relaxed. He's in with the other woolies, and he's flying around the enclosure, so all really good stuff. Soon I'll have to start donning sunglasses and a hat, I think. It's really not fair because I've put in all of the work. I would love to see him enjoying the others and being in the house, but I can't do it because as soon as he sees me, he yells and wants to come. He knows I'm here right now, I think, but this is an absolute joy for me. I'm really pleased. I just wish I could watch more of it.
The 160 apes and monkeys at the park eat over 60 tons of fruit and vegetables every year. And once in a while, just like humans, they enjoy something sweet. This morning, animal manager Jeremy visits a local farm to collect honey for the orangutans. When it comes to managing apes and monkeys, nothing phases Jeremy. But tiny insects are bringing out the coward in him.
Don't. You're okay. You're okay. You're right. You're a very, very brave man. I'll tell you what, are you wearing a scent or a perfume?
No.
Do you know how they make honey?
No. How do they make honey?
They get the nectar from the flowers and they bring it back
Yeah.
and they take it down
Yeah.
and then regurgitate it, pass it to the next bee. The next bee takes it down, regurgitate. So it's been well digested,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's why it's very, very good for people.
So it gets digested twice.
It gets hundreds of times.
Yeah, all right, yeah, jolly
hundreds
good,
of
yeah.
times.
The honey is an ideal food source for the primates. Not only does it taste good, but it contains natural antibiotics.
Yeah, I have to do the quality control here. It's good enough to eat, that. Yeah, I don't like sweet things normally, but
Well, the bell heather is not so sweet.
it's amazing because it's not like refined and all the rest sugar. It's
It's absolutely nice. It's wonderful stuff. Okay.
But will the orangutans enjoy the honey as much as Jeremy does?
You carry on with that, I'm all right here.
In the bachelor chimp bedroom, the boisterous lads are getting a bucket filled with water, vegetable oil, and floating treats. A tasty, moisturising concoction. 25-year-old Jester suffers from very dry skin, so the oil really helps him. At first, the boys are cautious, but it's not long before they are their usual rowdy selves. After all, they do have a tough guy image to keep up. But as always, it's just an act. They're actually petrified of the big red bucket. In the wild, it's normally the female chimps or youngsters who approach unfamiliar objects first, so the boys have a bit of an excuse for being cautious. But the truth is, these boys are actually big wimps. They are expressing their fear by screaming. But the more they scream, the more they wind themselves up, and although some are brave enough to get a bit closer, no one is willing to touch it. At last, 24-year-old Sammy braves it and finds enough courage to empty its very scary contents. Now the liquid is all over the floor, the group can at last relax. And as Sammy did the hard work, it's only fair he gets to enjoy the not-so-scary bucket, leaving Charlie to enjoy his favourite pastime, stuffing his face. High-ranking Buxom is in a playful mood and decides to chase Freddy. Freddy is not enjoying being teased, but he doesn't retaliate because Buxom is higher up the pecking order. Frustrated, he throws a bucket at another chimp, poor Paquito, who is just relaxing after gorging himself on the treats. With these volatile lads, life is never boring. In the orangutan nursery, it's time for Jeremy to see if the youngsters like the honey as much as he did. Little Jolie, the newest recruit to the group, is still a bit nervous of new things, so she hangs on tightly.
We thought this would be nice for the orange people because actually in a natural situation in the wild, orangs will find colonies of bees and raid the honey, you know, in trees and all that sort of stuff. And of course the other bonus is honey is a really healthy thing to eat with all the goodies that are in it. You know, it's a sort of great healing properties, and it's just good stuff. Also, we like getting stuck up in honey as well. It's good fun.
Like the chimp nursery, there is a foster mum in this group too, 12-year-old Ame. And with maturity comes a game plan. Ame tries to take all the honey before the little ones get to it. She doesn't even swallow what she's got in her mouth before grabbing the next piece. Soon, the youngsters take an interest, but Jolie's still cautious.
What's the matter, Poppet? Just have a little bit. Come on. You've obviously been attacked by a honey monster before, haven't you?
Aris, the only boy in the group, has waited patiently, but he sees the perfect opportunity and jumps in.
I know who's going to get that.
And he gets the best bit.
You scored there, young man. You can lick the bowl out. Everybody likes to lick the bowl out.
While Ame continues to get the big bits,
Look, Ame!
Xiao Ning's just got the leftovers. And she's so desperate for some more, she'll find it anywhere. Aris sees Jolie is missing out, so he gives her a big honey-laden kiss. But it seems he has an ulterior motive.
I told you she was sweet. It's not what I had in mind, though.
Just like humans, the orangs all have different tastes, and perhaps the honey is just not to Jolie's liking.
You stick more than the honey, you do, don't you? Little Klingon. He's a good girl. Go on, try some honey. You're not having any of that, are you? Just a little bit on your toe. Lick that off your toe.
But a few minutes later, when everyone's out the way, it seems that she can't resist the sweet stuff either. In Monkey World's orangutan enclosure,
Roro!
animal manager Jeremy checks up on new mum Roro, and she seems in need of some attention.
Hello, darling. Come up here. It's a good girl. What you got there? What are you eating? What you got there? Oh, that's off the browse, isn't it? That's sloes. You could make gin out of that, but it's okay. What, you were going to swap me those for a grape? I don't think that's a very good deal, actually.
It's been almost 2 weeks since Roro gave birth to her second daughter, Dinda. Just like humans, orangutans can experience postnatal depression. When her first baby was born, Roro suffered very badly. Jeremy did all he could to cheer her up, but she wasn't interested.
Hello. What we got? Hey, you want some brekkie? It's not your fault, is it?
This time, Roro seemed better.
With this baby, she got over it very quickly. There seemed to be a lot less hormonal worries going on in this particular instance. She was holding baby nicely, and she was caring for baby, and I think she was a lot more together with this baby in her head mentally than whatever she was with Xiaoning. But on the other hand, we're still ending up hand-rearing it.
It's a relief that Roro isn't suffering from postnatal depression, but she still seems to have very few mothering skills. She's now been unable to care for 2 babies. Could her former life as a pet have had an effect?
I think with all these animals, the starting point is the fact that they have no experience and they've had a very traumatic early life, which puts them in the situation that they're in now. And then everything else will either help that or hinder it.
Just like humans, all primates have different body shapes and faces. Individual chimps can even have distinctive hairstyles. Grooming is a popular activity in chimp society, and some over-grooming in Hananya's group has led to 1 or 2 interesting looks. Often, the lower-ranking members want to be accepted by the rest of the group, so they offer themselves to be groomed by everyone. But for one of the well-established females, 10-year-old Jolene, this isn't in her nature. So the increasing baldness and swelling on her head has become a worry for the primate care staff. Much to her displeasure, she's been separated off from the rest of the group, so Jim can come and check on her.
Come here, relax, good girl. No, come on. Yeah. Don't know. I'm kind of puzzled by the whole thing. We tried some sort of anti-allergy drugs to see if that was it, because particularly in the summer, you know, a chimp can get an allergy, and you do get, you know, a runny eyes and nose, and sometimes they get itchy skin, and they'll start pulling at their hair. All those, you try all those little basic things first. You know, keep it simple. In the end, nothing's really seeming to work, and our wildlife vet, John Lewis, he specializes in primates, and we really had no choice but to call him in. We can't think of anything else to do. We've tried all the simple things. You know, maybe he'll see something right off, and then okay, and then, you know, good, we'll try that.
John and the team work through a number of tests for things like food allergies and infectious diseases. But Jolene's condition is still a mystery.
Strange. What we probably need is, A, it may never happen again, in which case, wonderful. There's no problem. If it flares up again, I mean, it looks as if she's mildly puffy at the moment, but not severely so. When it starts up again, you want to take daily pictures. So I get an idea of how it develops and how it subsides or not, whatever, and how severe it is at the peak. When it's at its worst, that's when we want a blood profile, that's when we want possibly a biopsy. Not at this stage. I can't see today that a biopsy would be any good to you whatsoever.
Everyone will keep a very close eye on Jolene. Since allergy and infection have been ruled out, her symptoms could be the start of something much more serious. Back with the orangutans, there are some decisions to be made. When new mum Roro rejected her baby Dinda, the park looked for a foster mum for the little girl. Last week, Dinda met Xiao Kuai and her 1-year-old son Kai. Xiao Kuai is a fantastic mum, so the park hoped she could rear the baby.
Good girl. Well done. Good girl. You're a special girl, aren't you?
Initially, she was very interested in Dinda.
We got it. We're on. Now we're sucking.
But things started to go wrong. Dinda had problems latching onto the nipple, and her constant crying was frustrating Xiao Kuai. For her own safety, and so she could be fed, she had to be taken away. So now they've come up with a plan B.
In the not too distant future, or in the quite close future, hopefully, we'll start introducing that baby to Arme, who has proved to be such a wonderful foster mother with Jolie. Arme will be a better option in so much as A, she hasn't got her own baby at the moment, and B, she's in the nursery group anyway with a load of kids, so therefore she doesn't have the competition with adults. But when we do that, I'm quite comfortable that Arme will take the baby and look after the baby, but then I have to work with Arme to feed the baby, because she won't be able to feed baby naturally, of course. So that's just something that she and I have got to work on and develop. But now baby's still a bit young for that to happen. We haven't made a decision as to exactly when we're going to address that, but it will happen. Am I boring you?
Now that Roro's grape supply has run out, she loses interest in Jeremy. She makes it quite clear he is of no use to her anymore.
Okay then. See, no more grapes. You don't want to know me anymore. It's all over, isn't it? It's all over now. Look at that. No grapes. Typical woman.
Over in the stump-tailed macaque enclosure, Jeremy has a new challenge. 20-year-old Coco is being introduced to the great outdoors. It's a slow process and a huge change for Coco. It's all very different from her first home.
Come on, Coco.
Let's go.
Coco.
2 weeks ago, Jim and Alison went to Hungary to rescue her. She was stolen from the wild in Vietnam and ended up spending 20 years living in a small cage in a pet shop. Overweight and living alone, the team was surprised at her agility and her feisty personality. Coco's previous life may have caused both physical and mental scars. It could be a while before the park knows the full extent, but they have already spotted a skin condition which needs daily treatment.
Because she's so fat, in the folds of her tummy, it's getting quite horrible in there, and we're worried about fungal infections or even bacterial infections. So what I'm doing now is I'm giving her like a bed bath every day, and I'm using an antibacterial, antifungal shampoo that was recommended by Mike Nathan, the vet. So I'm just going to go and grab her now, and she's going to have her daily bed bath, which she's very good about, as long as I can stop her drinking the bath water, which is always a problem. Come on, sweetheart. It's bath time. Yes, it is. It's bath time. Come on, darling. Come on. Up we go. There we go. Good girl. Where's a good girl? There. This is... You don't mind, do you? A bit undignified, maybe, but you like your bath time. Here we go. Since she's been here, it's a lot less angry, a lot less inflamed. This is just through basic overweight and lack of mobility. I mean, this is just sitting about and getting fat. It's like almost like bed sores, I suppose. And the overweight will have been brought on by the bad diet and lack of exercise. And then if you're big and fat, you don't do a lot. So then you just sit and vegetate in a horrible sweaty heap. And then it can only degenerate from there, really, can't it?
Here at the park, it appears that Coco loves the attention, and each day after her wash, she gets a little treat.
As sure as I can be that she actually likes the sensation of being groomed and brushed and washed, just by the fact that she is so cooperative. I mean, she'll turn into the right position so I can get the right bit. I mean, look at her face now. In fact, very often she'll go to sleep in like bliss as I'm brushing her hair, and that can only be a positive thing.
Her reaction means that hopefully, when she meets the other stumptails, grooming will become second nature to her. Next time, Coco meets her first companion in 20 years, old boy Gerald. And there's a surprise arrival for golden-cheeked gibbon Peanut.
So out of all the groups of gibbons that we've got here, these were the last we thought were going to be giving birth.